What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll review the Collingwood Carlton game. Let's get into it. So, yeah, far out. That happened. We played Carlton Friday night. Big game. Obviously, our arch rivals. We've both won 5 in a row. You know, they're looking to play finals for the first time in like 10 years, and we're looking to sort of stay on top and continue this run into the finals, because we're definitely playing finals. And we just didn't come to play. And I want to say this right off the top of my bat before I go on and talk about the game and my thoughts, is credit to Carlton. As much as that pains me to say, they understood the assignment. They came in, they were 5 in a row. Their last 5 games have been by wins over 50 points. Sure, they were teams on the bottom of the ladder, and then they get Port Adelaide, and then they get us after a Port Adelaide game. But they outmuscled us, they outnumbered us, they outran us. They literally beat us at our own game, at our own running game, at our own clearance game, at our own contested ball game. And when you've got Kerno kicking 6 and Martin, who hasn't done anything this year, and he comes out and kicks 3, and they did. What more can you say than they did really well? And you've got to give credit to them, unfortunately, before you go on and talk about what could have been, what we could have done better, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, they understood the assignment, we didn't, and just want to get that off the top of my bat before I talk about everything else. But now, let's try and break this down. So we'll just start with my thoughts before we go into a little bit of stat work and players and stuff like that. And I felt from the start of the game, and look, I don't know if it was because Metro, the train lines were down and stuff, and people were getting in late or whatever it may have been, but I just felt like the atmosphere was just non-existent, and that's really weird for a Collingwood game. They talk about us being the 19th man and this, and we've got 101,000 members. We've broken our membership record and stuff like that. And then it just felt dull at times, and I know that's because Carlton, took away any sort of enjoyment when they're kicking goals and stuff. But even when we were kicking goals, we kicked the first 2 goals, and the cheers go up and stuff, but it just felt like it didn't feel as good as it felt over the last few weeks as well. Like, I don't know if the cheer squad needs to improve or something like that, but I know a lot of people didn't rock up because of the trains as well. But it just felt flat, and it kind of felt like the boys were flat, not because of it, but they were flat as well. And when Bo missed that goal from right in front, we were 2 goals up, or it was 2 goals to 1 goal. Bo missed that goal from right in front, and I said, yeah, nah, this is going to be the story of how our game is going to sort of go. And I haven't felt like that in a Collingwood game for a very long time. Maybe not even the Brisbane game did I feel like that. I just felt like as soon as Bo missed that goal, I go, okay, this is how this game's going to go. And you just felt that we were off, and you only need to be off by 1 or 2 or 3%, even 0.5%, to a team that's hungrier than you, for them to sort of put that on you and put you to the sword. We talk about the Pies not putting teams to the sword, and Carlton come out and do that to us and take away any of our contests and anything that we had built up this season. They come out and they did it better. But yeah, I just felt like it was just very dull. Our supporters were dull, and the team was just, I don't know, they just weren't there. Now on Twitter, you know how much I love Twitter and how much I love the people on there. I said that Carlton picked us off at the right time, and when I say that, it's not discrediting Carlton like people are trying to take it out to be, right? Carlton, amazing. I say picked us off at the right time because yes, we had a full team, which is fair enough. They didn't, and we had a full team, so we were expected to win, right? But I'm saying that they picked us off at the right time because as a Collingwood supporter, you could, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you could see it building that we were bound to have a sort of game like this. We scraped through the Western Bulldogs. You know, we go to Port Adelaide, and Port Adelaide gave us everything. They gave us everything, and we had to match it and then get better. And then we scraped through that game. Hard fought, away from home in the rain as well, right? But you can tell that we were a little bit off for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and then for the last 6 or 7 weeks, our contested ball is dropping numbers. The scores from defensive changes dropping numbers. The way to win the ball back is dropping numbers, and all that culminated in getting Carlton at a time when they needed to win. And pretty much, and this is, you know, this was like a grand final for them because they needed to win to make finals for the first time in 10 years, and they gave us everything. And they brought in a bunch of players, obviously. You know, Cripps and Chera comes back in. You know, they were missing a bunch, but they just threw everything at us. And like we said, we were 0.5% off. We were down in these major stats, and you can see that on the stat sheet as well. So they picked us off at the right time. It was just this sort of performance by the Pies was just coming, and unfortunately, you know, it hurts. Look, I'm not too like, maybe if this happened at the start of the year, I'd be fuming. I'm not too worried about this at all, right? The only thing that sucks is that it's against Carlton, you know, your arch rivals. And, you know, if we had done this performance against the Suns, or if we did this against Port Adelaide last week as well, I would have been like, okay, you know, that sucks, but we move on. But because it just had to be, you could kind of see this storyline coming, because it just had to be Carlton that knocked us off in round 20. But it is what it is, and we just move on. You know, it's on to the next one, and there is a lot of learnings to take out of this game. So we talked a little bit earlier about our contested possessions being down and stuff like that, and just have a look at this stat. So Carlton, we said that they were intense at the contested ball. They were cleaner around the contested ball. They finished with 29 more contested possessions than us, which is our worst differential for the season and Carlton's best differential for their season. So you can see how it was just I want to say a cacophony of happenstance, a cacophony of I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'm trying to say. It was just a bunch of everything, bit like Murphy's Law. So we had our worst contested possession difference for the game for the year. They had their best for the year, and you could see that in that second quarter they really outmuscled us, outplayed us, and I think they kicked 5 goals in that second quarter. Another one is, I said it in the preview, that they are a really good clearance side. They restricted us to 1 goal from clearances, and they kicked 6 goals from clearances. At the start of the year, or probably for about 12 or 13 weeks, we were the better clearance side. We were scoring from clearances and stuff like that. That's dropped off in the last 6 weeks. Carlton obviously knew that, and they used that to their advantage, stopping us from scoring from clearances. We scored a bunch of goals from turnovers. But look at this. Carlton had 10 more clearances than us, which again is Collingwood's equal worst differential this season. I think the last time that was this bad was the Melbourne game, maybe. So again, that's 2 things that is our equal worst that have come in from this game. And another one, the Blues won 14 more post clearance contested possessions. So that's getting the clearance and then getting the possession from the clearance. So they won 14 more. And that's Carlton's equal 3rd best result for the season, and Collingwood's equal 2nd worst result for the season. So it was just like dominoes. One fell, and everything else started falling behind it. And that's credit to, again, I don't really have to say it, but that's credit to the Blues for what they were able to do. But this isn't just like we've been winning by 80 points every single week and then all of a sudden this happens. That's not how football works. You could see this decline for the last few weeks, and I said it in my preview, and I said it in my review of the Port Adelaide game, and I think the Western Bulldogs game, where there was some sort of cause for concern. David King has been saying it as well. So there was a little bit of cause for concern, and hopefully this is that kick up the arse this team needs, because it's round 20, right? We still got a long way to go before finals. We need to start fine-tuning these things, and we need to get that hunger back that we had at the start of the year. In regard to, some of the players and stuff, we didn't really have a super big standout, I don't think. Jeremy Howe moving into the forward line, kicking 3 goals in that final quarter. Could have had a fourth as well. Is exactly like what me and David King were talking about, and I'll post a video up about that later. He could be anything. Do we need him in the back line anymore? I posted on Instagram that I feel like, he's not costing us, but I don't think we need him in the back line anymore. And Craig McRae said that after the game. He was playing on small forwards. We don't need that, right? Send him into the forward line. He can take a good mark and he can goal. He was a forward at Melbourne. We may have lost the battle, but we've won seeing a rediscovery of Howe as a forward. Dan McStay, I feel like that was his best game for the club. Hands down, he was marking everything. I think he ended up with 2 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong. He might have ended up with 2 goals too. McStay, 2 goals too. A couple from tight angles, so that's sort of fine. But this was his best game for the club. Obviously, he doesn't come out of the team. I said Bo McCreary missed some couple of easy shots. Even Jamie Elliott took mark of the year, let's say, and then he kicked 0-3. So you can see that it's just a culmination of everything, a calamity of errors going into this game. I think I would love to see, Taylor Adams. I haven't got his stats up here, but his kicking efficiency going inside 50. He hit three Carlton players going inside 50, and you just can't be having that. Especially when the game is on the line. Darcy Moore was doing it out of the back line. So when Moore, Pendles, Dacos are hitting or miss-kicking, you're not in for a good night. The last one I want to sort of talk about is Mason Cox. Now, Mason Cox gets subbed out for Will Hoskin-Elliott, and I think that I love Mason Cox, right? And even in my review, I said that this could be the game. He could kick 3 goals after a poor showing. He comes out of the team and finds some form in the twos. Now, he just didn't perform. In a game where he needed to perform, he just didn't perform. Let's see, he had 3 disposals, 1 kick, 2 handballs, 1 mark, and 7 hitouts for 32% time on ground. So we weren't even using him when he was on the ground. When he wasn't subbed out. So he doesn't, he doesn't go into the team next week. I dare say Frampton comes into the team. So if Frampton comes into the team against the Hawks, I think that releases Jeremy Howe out a little bit up forward, because I do want to see that. Or do we bring in Ash Johnson? We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But it was just a calamity of errors. Nick Dacos in that last quarter, dodging all these players and then snapping it when he kicks it 100 times out of 100. He missed it, right? And he just flushed that kick hard. And then he missed one in the third quarter where he would usually kick it. I think it was probably the same sort of area where he kicked that Essendon one on Anzac Day. He missed that one. Bo McCreary missing that one, Jamie Elliott. It was just a calamity of errors, and that's got to do with the pressure that Carlton brought, and it obviously has to do with we just weren't up to the task. We just went up to the task against them, and that's just credit to the Blues. But something definitely does have to change. Now, what does this mean going forward? It means that it's round 20, bro. Like, everyone just needs to sort of chill out, let the Carlton supporters, have their time in the sun, because they haven't done much for 10, 20 years. So this is sort of their time in the sun, beating their arch rivals and making their way to finals. Good on them. What can you do? Good on them, right? In regards to us, though, I've said, how many times have I said this in the last 5 years? Like's not the right word. I don't mind losing, okay? As long as it's not like insanely bad. Losing, especially during the season, lets you fix things that you were just putting band-aids over, like earthquake cracks, right? So there was a lot of things that were getting sort of pushed under the radar because we were winning. Winning was sort of masking problems, and we can see that from here. So winning was masking those problems a little bit. And now with a loss, they're going to review this hard and they're going to get to work. And let's just say Carlton don't kick what four goals in that last quarter. The bloody dogs. They kick 4 goals in that last quarter, right? So let's just say they don't kick 4 goals. They kick 2 goals in that last quarter. And then we end up kicking one or two more. We kick 6 goals in that last quarter and we win. That's still, one, it wouldn't have been deserving, really. But two, let's just say we won that game. It still cracks. It still tapes over those huge cracks of, losing the contested ball, losing, post clearance possessions. And there was another one that I said a little bit earlier. So it's good for us to lose this in the lead up, because I'd rather lose it now than I'd rather lose in a final or in a semi final. So rather lose now. We've got 4 or 5 weeks to sort of rebuild our sort of game plan and come back hard. I don't think there's anything to worry about. If we lose to Hawthorn next week, there's a little bit to worry about. But still, that's next week, right? This is this week. It's okay. I know it hurts because it's Carlton. But look, like Craig McRae teaches us and has taught us for 2 years, we're in the business of getting better, right? We fought right until the end. I know we didn't win, but we still fought right until the end. And we just move on. It's on to the next one. This is going to hurt because you probably have Carlton family or Carlton friends who are just going to give it to you. Let them have it. Let them have it, right? We don't care about a round 20, a round 17, a round 15 game. We keep winning, or we keep doing our best in these next few weeks. Come finals, that's when the second season sort of starts. And we'll forget about this game. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. We'll be okay. We'll reassess next week when we play Hawthorn, but we're gonna be good. We're gonna be fine. And it's all good, man. It's all good. Just this positive outlook. This what you're seeing now, this positive outlook, is because of Craig and what he's instilled in this football club. And I can't wait for the rest of the year. Bring it on. But until then, remember, I do have membership. So if you're watching this far, it means that you like what I'm doing. And if you want to support, please just grab a membership. I think it's like $3 or something a month for the basic one, which would be amazing. But if you don't want to grab a membership, share it out to your friends. I want to keep hitting these subscriber numbers. I love doing these videos. And of course, leave all your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shaggers. I'll swoop you later.